Hello everyone, I'm Jennifer Kumar from Authentic Journeys. I'd like to share with you 3 tips to help you to transition into your new work from home and digital communication environment that you're now thrust into without maybe any or much warning because of the coronavirus pandemic, and maybe you're on lockdown or you are in quarantine and you can't go outside. I'm going to tell you the 3 tips, then I'm going to go into each of them by detail and then wrap up the call. Yeah, this isn't a call. See, I'm already thinking I'm on a call because I'm actually used to working from home. Okay, so the 3 tips: set boundaries. 2 is have buffer time for all of your meetings or digital communication interactions. And 3 is to speak and articulate more clearly. Okay, so let me go into detail. Boundaries. What do I mean by that? Well, now you have your system, maybe you have your actual laptop from work in your house, or your monitors, or some other paperwork or other materials that were actually in another building far away from your house. Now they're actually in your house and you get to see them and interact with them and touch them 24 hours a day if you really want to. And maybe you can do that, especially if you're an expat or a transplant. You're working away from home, away from family, and all you really have is work because you don't have anyone living with you. And also maybe, you just get obsessed with work. Who knows? With everything else going on, with all the other stress we're under, some people throw themselves more into work. Everyone is different. So set boundaries for yourself. Before this situation where you had to quarantine or lock down yourself in the house with your system and your materials, remember you actually had a good boundary set up, right? Because you could take your commute to work. That helped you to transition your mind into the work environment. And then only once you got into the office at 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, you log in and start using your system and checking your emails. And then at 5, 6, or 7, when it was time to go home, you shut everything down. And maybe you didn't have to check any messages or any phone calls or any emails after that. And plus, you didn't have your system with you to do that. So it made it a lot easier. So what do you do at 6 or 7 o'clock when you normally used to leave the office? Shut your laptop. Shut your laptop. And if now you are getting messages over Slack or even your own personal mobile device, mobile phone, try your best just to wait till the morning to check it if possible. This might not always be possible, but I'm coaching some expats and transplants around this right now. And 90% of the pings can actually wait. It's just that sometimes when you're expat or a transplant, especially if you're not around your family, you can thrust yourself more into work and get lost in that, and then realize that you didn't have any time to relax and you're all stressed out. So let's not have that happen to you on top of everything else. Work can be a good release, a good way to stop thinking about the other realities of the day that are going on right now. Find some other hobbies, maybe reading or doing some exercise videos from YouTube in your apartment. Something else to keep your mind occupied so that you're not going to get stressed out too much over work. So that's tip number 1, set the boundary. Number 2 is the buffer time. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, usually when you're in an office, when you're meeting people face to face, you can actually finish that interaction a lot quicker than when you have to call somebody on the phone, or now you have to organize a meeting over Zoom or Skype. And maybe you've never even done that before. You're still fumbling through that. And you're still learning how to do all that. So even under the circumstance where that's a new situation and you're still fumbling through learning how to use the digital communication channels, and that's why it's taking more time, it's still going to take more time later, like once you start getting used to it. What the best practice is usually they say, you'll probably be able to finish between 60 to 75% of what you plan from an actual face-to-face meeting. So if you had like usually an hour full of activity, discussion points, and brainstorming sessions and all that in a normal face-to-face meeting, probably that 1 hour of information, you can really only cover maybe, 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the number of people and their connections, and if they get disconnected, or all of that stuff is also the technical problems come into play. So try to limit the amount of talking points you have in all of your meetings if possible, or try to summarize them and not speak so long if possible. So that's number 2, is the buffer time. Now number 3 is to speak clearly and articulate better. Now I tend to work with a lot of expats more than transplants, but expats that are living in the US from different countries, or even people on global teams, especially from India and other countries that speak English as a second language and have to now get on a video call with somebody in the US or Canada or elsewhere. Of course, before you might have had more emails or more chats, but maybe now you're going to get on a call, you're going to get on a Zoom, you're going to get on a Skype, you're going to get on a video. Yes, people might be able to see your facial expressions to see how you speak. Try to slow down and not speak so fast. This tip is also good for native speakers too. So just because if you're listening to this, if you're a native speaker of English or any other language in which meetings are conducted, it's definitely better to try to articulate and speak at a more even speed for all of your audience members, so they can all understand you over a digital channel. And there are about 3 or 4 other tips in speaking clearly in virtual meetings. And I did that webinar. That wasn't a webinar, it was a podcast with Andrea Giordano, who is from Study with Andrea. And I'll link that to this video as well. So I hope you found this video useful. I coach virtual teams. I help them get used to interacting in digital platforms across cultures, and maybe even speaking in English as a second language, and also learning the cultural tidbits to help them be more effective when working across global boundaries. If you want to get in touch with me, it's authenticjourneys.info or info@authenticjourneys.info. Again, I'm Jennifer Kumar from Authentic Journeys. Thanks for listening.